Okay, everybody, I'm excited to show you how I'm going to quilt this quilt. But I want you to recognize and notice something. Major no-no. Okay, Karla didn't measure quite correctly for her backing. So I will be adding a couple pieces to the sides right here and to the bottom. So I make sure that I have enough to accommodate that excess quilting and that fabric shrinkage. And it also shrinks more if there's a lot of dense quilting. So just know I'm going to be quilting in this area here so I can make sure that I can add to the sides right here. Err on the side of caution and add that little extra, okay? But notice how I've ironed him. He turned out really, really cute. I'm very happy with the way he turned out. He's fun, he's bright, he's bold, and he's just adorable. And I added the bear claw design right here, and this is where I used that fun print right here. And it makes it kind of fun and whimsical, and it adds those earth tone. And I wasn't afraid to bring in the blue on the bear. But notice I have a piece right here where I had to piece them together. That's okay, it happens. So I ran out of this blue fabric and I had to make it work in the moment. And this is where I used those templates, this long one right here. And I used the gray for the bear as the main part of his body. So this is how I'm going to quilt it. So you'll notice that here on the screen, this is a 21X Elite. It's an awesome machine. We've now added throat lights so that you have more light for this area. Now the lights are turned off because of filming. But if you have one of the older machines and your eyes are going, that light is so important. So more is always better when it comes to lighting. The next thing I want to talk to you about are the settings on your machine. So make sure your needle area brightness is up to the highest so that you can see it. And make sure that you have your screen brightness to where you need it as well so that you can see the buttons on the screen. We're in manual mode right now. I won't stay in manual mode, but I'm going to come over here to these three little lines on the screen. If you tap on that, that's where you can access the help guide and the settings. We are going to go into the settings. And now we're going to make sure our needle button is the needle up down. Okay, so the needle up down means that when you push the needle button on your handle, it will go down. And then when you push it again, it will come back up. If you had it switched over to a single stitch, it makes one full rotation. It goes down and then it comes back up. Now, I want to make sure, because I'm going to be using some rulers, that my needle stop position is down. So make sure that you have your little button slid over to down. Make sure your overspeed is off. Then your overspeed light, we want to leave that on. Our edge warning sound, if you're using the edge warning in a ruler base, definitely, really, really important. And notice I don't have the ruler base on yet, so I'm just going to do a little bit of stitching in the ditch today to stabilize these center ones, and then just talk about my design. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about designing and changing your foot. Okay, so let's change our foot really quick, and let me show you how quick and easy it is to change your foot. So all you need is your 3mm Allen wrench, and I've done this so many times. You can either take your bobbin case out or unthread your needle, because your needle has to go down to the bottom position. So I'm just going to unthread my needle, all right? And that way I don't have to take my bobbin case out. And I'm going to quickly change this to precise mode, and I'm going to move it down to 11 stitches per inch. And I'm going to just take off this foot really quick. So I'm going to put my ruler foot on. All right, and I'm going to leave it laying against the needle plate. Put my needle in the down position. And now I'm going to get my little tool that I love, my foot height gauge, okay? So make sure you get your foot height gauge, and you're going to put it right underneath the foot. And now you can take your screw and just screw it back into place. Now I can just bring my needle back up, take this out, rethread my needle really quick, and then I'll bring it up really quick, and then I'm just going to use this little tool here to make sure that my threads don't get tangled, so I'm going to pull it out. I make sure I put my foot where I need it, and my foot height gauge and everything, so I'm putting them all down here with my scissors. Okay, let's talk about the belts really quick, and then I'm going to show you how to pull up your threads. And what you need to do is just loosen it out of both ends of here, right here. So notice how I unscrewed the bar right here. I'm just going to pull this out. Now you're going to use some tape to tape it down right here. And I'm going to go to the back. All right, and now all you have to do is loosen this belt. Now I don't want you to take it out of both sides. All it needs to be doing is laying down on the ground. All right, now we've loosened our belts. Now we have free range and movement of our machine. Look at that. If I had left this one connected, it would pull back up in and impede my quilting and my movements and get caught, and it would be jerky, very, very jerky. And by loosening the belts, it took me not even a minute to do that. So, all right, let's talk about thread choices. Because I'm going to use mostly white, but in some of the areas on the gray, I'm going to use our silver color right here on the bear. And I'm not sure how much quilting I'm going to do right here. I might do some up-downs to accentuate. I might also just kind of do some S's to accentuate the fur. In here on the background, I'm going to do some swirls. So now I'm going to use this green here. This is called Kelly green, okay? So I'm going to use it as well. And then I found one of our good old seaside teal. I thought that would be kind of fun. Variegated threads can really add something to your quilting. All right, let me show you quickly how to pull up the threads, and we're going to do some stitching in the ditch, and I'm going to talk to you about designs. These right here are templates of the blocks in my quilt, okay? So as you're quilting, I printed these out 8 by 8. I mean, they're obviously larger than that, but this will give me a good idea of what I want to do and how I want to quilt them out. So this one right here is this little, I want to call it the mountain, okay? So this is the green, and this is kind of snow top or snow cap. And so this is this block here. This is my little bear claw right here. So my little points in my bear claw, so that's this one. And this right here is an outline of my bear. So these, by printing these out, this will allow me to really kind of decide what designs I want to choose or what fillers. So as I'm quilting, this will help me know if I want to add a little bit of texture to the bear, or maybe I want to kind of leave him on his own and not do a lot to him. I do know that I want to do some little spirals in the background because I think they're fun. I love spirals, you guys. And I'm going to call them closed. So notice how I come back in and I touch a point on it. And then if I want to turn another direction, then I can close that up and I can come back in here and fill that in. So just have fun with this and make it continuous. Go the different directions, come back. And then if I got caught right around here, I could just use this one to get back out and come this direction. So practice on paper first. That's really, really important. And see if you can make him the same size or close to the same size. And then maybe you might want to come back this point and then kind of bounce off and do this one. So that will be really fun around the bear. And the up-down movements, which would be really cool and a lot of fun, and the swirls to come in and out like this, come back down, maybe it looks more like fur. We'll practice that, you guys, and make it a lot of fun and very whimsical. So I will show you that. Now, for the borders, guess what? I'm going to use the automation. I love the automation with the borders, and it makes it very precise and accurate. What I want to do is do a little bear claw or trees or something like that for the border. It'd be a lot of fun. In this area right here, I want to make it look like mountains. So I'm going to use my ruler. I just want to show you how important it is to stitch in the ditch. Now, because I'm adding a little bit of extra onto the sides, I'm not going to quilt over in this area. So I want to make sure my quilting is. And you don't have to have your quilt too tight. You want to make sure that you're using your quilt clips, and I'm using the pink ones right here, which are back here, to stabilize it. Now this quilt's a little wider, and so make sure that you're overlapping. especially if you're quilting an edge-to-edge design using the automation. So I'm just going to quilt in this area right here for right now, and I just wanted to show you how easy it is to pull your threads up and down. And I can actually tack down the edges, and I'm going to tack down the edges right here because I'm not adding any up here. I will be adding some to the bottom and to the sides, and I will pull up my threads. See that single stitch? That was the needle up, down, okay? It wasn't the full stitch. So I'm just going to tack it down. How I'm using my fingers, I want to go right along the edge. And because I'm using a double layer, I just want to move across. Now this is your chance to check your stitching and see how pretty the stitching is. And see if the stitch length is the length that you want it. And I think it looks pretty good. Now, when I'm thinking about stitch length, I'm also thinking about what if I'm free motion quilting, what if I make a mistake? How easy is it going to be for me to unpick that? So if you have teeny tiny stitches, man, we probably shouldn't be thinking of that, but that's always in the back of my mind. And as I'm moving across, I'm not going to go all the way across because remember, I am adding something to this edge here. But this is going to give me enough stability right here so I can quilt. So, okay, I started it. Now I'm going to pull up my bottom thread. So just pull it up. See, I'm hanging on my tail. I pulled it away to make a tail on top and a tail on bottom. Now I moved it back to where I stopped. And now I'm just going to pull my thread up. I didn't let go of that. And then I'm just going to clip it with my scissors. So one thing of free motion quilting that's really important, you guys, and I didn't understand how important it is to stitch in the ditch. Stitching in the ditch really stabilizes the blocks and keeps it from shifting and moving. So if you're doing specialty blocks that are larger and bigger and you want the automation to work really well, and where you placed it, you want it to stay placed, make sure you're stitching in the ditch, stabilizing your block. So I'm just going to stitch in the ditch just with this one little block right here, okay, by stabilizing it. So I would stabilize along here. This is along the border, okay, stitching in the ditch, and see, by stabilizing this, it's not going to shift and move. It's already attached to the backing and the batting. Really important as you're working your way down and across your quilt. Now, it's not necessarily necessary if you're quilting using the automation or an edge-to-edge design. You don't need to do that. Okay, you do need to tack down the edges so that if you sew off the edges and you come back, it doesn't fold over and make a little wrinkle in your top. All right, so let's just kind of play and have fun stitching in the ditch, and I'll just show you needle up, needle down. Okay, so I do want to secure my threads, and as I'm quilting, and I should have the ruler and the ruler base, but I'm just going to kind of come down and just stitch in the ditch. And I notice that as I stitch in the ditch, okay, as I stitch in the ditch, how now this seam is secure and it's not going anywhere, okay? And so as the quilt, as the machine is moving across it, it's a hopping foot for a reason. It hops along, but it does make our fabric move and shift. So secure the blocks that you need to. Think about it. Think of what you need to tack down and as you're quilting, and then just have fun. Now, I will come back and show you what I did in the last little bit when I get this quilted, because I want you to see and know. But I have had so much fun creating this quilt. And the ruler is really important for you to use as you're coming at an angle because it really does help stabilize it. If I was going to come down, I'd have to move a little slower. And that's one of the reasons why I loosened the belts and took them out. All right. Thanks for joining me. I can't wait to show you my finished quilts, both of them. I'm really excited, and I hope that you've gleaned some inspiration of how to quilt, how to venture out and start designing, creating your own designs, and making more of you using your quilts and piecing and quilting, because we love the craft, we love doing it, and I love that you're doing it with us here at Grace Company. Thanks. Have a good day. We'll see ya. Bye.